Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have two videos for you tonight. They are both with Judge Sam Meyer at the Thurston County District Court in Washington. The first one is dueling PPOs. It seems that there's a young man in this neighborhood with a very loud truck, and the neighbors really don't like it. And when they complained, he decided to stop in front of the complaining neighbor's house and gun his engine. Okay. And then the second one, I don't want to give too much away on that one. And the second one is, I'm not really sure. He sounds like a sovereign citizen, but he doesn't have all the jargon really in sync yet. He doesn't know it all. So I'll let you guys watch that one. I haven't watched either of these videos in the entirety, so we'll watch them together.
I take Ms. Stewart. Are you here on the Zoom call or are you in court?
I'm here.
Should come on right up there. Mr. Johnson, and have you put it at another table? Okay. And then Wyatt Johnson, if you're on
Here, Your Honor.
picking him up, can you activate your camera?
And we also have my neighbor, Chris
I see it.
Looney.
I recognize him on there.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we get started, the pro tem may have gone over this, and if he didn't, I'm going to go over this now. You're here because you're either asking for or someone's asking for an anti-harassment order against you. We have a case here we're going to start today. The one case we're going to start with is people are asking for orders against each other. I'm going to need a little bit of explanation for. Just in terms of ground rules, what happens is I'll swear in the petitioner, usually the petitioner first, ask him or her why they need an order, and then I'll allow the respondent to respond. And then there's some witnesses. I think Mr. Looney submitted, if I recall correctly, he submitted a written statement, which I've read. And if he wants to add to that, he can. And then, and then I may have some questions for one or both of you, and I'll allow you to respond to what you hear from the other party. But in terms of ground rules, don't talk over the other party. I want all comments directed to me, not the other person. And we'll go from there. So, as I said, in terms of, we have Jill Stewart asking for an order against Wyatt and Patrick Johnson. We have Wyatt Johnson asking for an order against Ms. Stewart. Both were requested on the same day. And now we're here on temporary orders. And so just because both are a petitioner, both are a respondent, I'll start with Wyatt Johnson. Can you raise your right hand, please? Your right one, please. And do you swear and affirm the information testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
And so I guess I started with you because I'm most confused by your requests. It seems to me if you didn't want any contact with the Stewarts, you wouldn't drive your truck the way that you do. That is on video that I saw. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. That was videos were, some videos were submitted. Some witness statements were submitted. So I understand. Excuse me, put your hand down. You know, I'll talk when the time comes. I'll talk to you too. He's the petitioner. He's here on his own, so he's old enough to respond to my questions and speak for himself. But I'll give you a chance. So, Mr. Wyatt Johnson, how is it you need an order against Ms. Stewart?
I just would like to be left alone. I have no reason to be involved in their life at all. It's not my prerogative to see them or do anything with them. I don't want to hear anything. I have not tried to cause problems, and this all started the weeks prior to Tuesday. And going and texting my boss and texting people and saying a lot of gross things that people don't want to tell me because they're just not things that I need to hear.
I don't understand that last comment.
I just want to be left alone. I want my family to be left alone. That's
Okay.
why I
I kinda
want to
think-
petition.
All right. Well, I kind of think they want the same thing.
I
So I'm going to hear from, hang on just a second, you know, and maybe I should have done this first, you know, harassment. There's a definition of harassment. So I'll read to everybody. So unlawful harassment is a series of acts is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct is defined as a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. So what series of acts are you alleging that Ms. Stewart has done to harass you?
coming to my driveway, recording me every day, screaming at us or screaming at me. I never once tried to interact with them. Until Tuesday happened, I had no idea what the real issue was.
All right. Let me hear from Ms. Stewart. Ma'am, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. And then go ahead, ma'am. I'll hear from you. You can speak as both a respondent and a petitioner.
Okay, I just have something written here real quick.
And you submitted a written document, which I have read.
did.
Go ahead.
Yes, and I'm not going to go over that. I was just going to have a couple other remarks that go against what Wyatt's petition specifically said. Because it was his repeated aggressive actions against me that were intended to annoy and scare me in my own home. Just one text message to his father led to his son aggressively driving past our home at all hours of the day, revving his engine to my and my neighbor's annoyance. It was apparent that the only purpose of his actions that weekend were to harass me and my family. There are a few things that I'd like to clarify after reading Wyatt's petition. For one, my husband was not home the morning of the 6th when the confrontations occurred with both Wyatt and Patrick Johnson. Second, in no way did I have prior knowledge of what my other neighbors were doing the morning of the 6th. I did not ask them to record Wyatt in the driveway, nor go out to flag them down after he stopped directly in front of my home to intimidate me. One of my neighbors, John, I did not know him prior to February 6th. I have his video submitted as evidence. Third, Wyatt stated that I called his father multiple times. I ask your honor that they submit evidence proving the statement. I never once called Patrick, only
Mr. Patrick Johnson in a second, but go ahead.
I never once called Patrick, only sent him the one text message that I submitted as evidence. The statement of my harassing his dad is false. Your Honor, I ask that you approve my request for an anti-harassment restraining order due to the fact that both Patrick and Wyatt cannot manage their anger that arose from the sending of one text message. The encounters with both men have left me feeling unsafe in my own home, and I fear for any future retaliation against me. I ask that you deny Wyatt's request against me due to the fact that one text message cannot be considered harassment. I also find it slanderous that he could accuse me of having a substance abuse problem when I did not even know his name prior to February 6th.
Mr. Patrick Johnson, you raise your right hand, please. You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, you're listed as respondent. You don't bring your own petition.
No,
I'll hear from you.
just was initially just taking this as neighbors not getting along and going about their way because we've never talked to them before, had any interaction. But anyways, Friday, February 2nd, I was working and got a phone call from a customer of mine stating that Jill had called him and asking for my phone number. I was like, okay, that's fine. I don't know them at all. So Bill gave him my phone number, in which I received this long text message just about Wyatt driving erratically, speeding up and down the road, and I ignored it. He's got a 10-month-old son that's in the truck with him 80% of the time. Most of the rest of the time, he's towing one of my trailers up and down the street in a school zone. And just so happens that the school zone ends and the speed limit increases to 35, going past the Stewart's home. Now, I've never been a big fan of his exhaust myself, honestly, and he knows that. It's loud and obnoxious, and it revs up as he leaves the 20-mile-an-hour zone to go to 30. So it's just the exhaust. He's not speeding. But anyways, Monday came, no interactions with anybody. Monday came, and my customer called me again and said her husband had called now, and he didn't know why, and he's going to call him back later that night. In the meantime, on the way home that night, I don't know if she realized I was the next vehicle behind my son or not, but she ran out to the curb with her phone, videoing him waving at him, which to me is a distraction to everybody on the road. But she walked away. We went home, blew it off. Mr. Eisman called her husband back, and he just stated that, from what I know in the brief conversation, that I didn't respond to her text message. I had no reason to. I don't know these people. I don't owe them anything. Anyways, went about my day. Tuesday morning, I left the house, and right around 8:15 or so, because I called in the incident report at 8:22 myself, when my son called me and said it was like an ambush. This John guy was at the end of the driveway, flashing a light off his phone at him, recording him. Well, I went down the road, tried to talk to them, got out of the truck, and was just met by vulgar language, got in the truck. I told him to go back home, which is my fault. I should just have him keep going and drive away from the situation, because he had to drive through it again to get back to the house. I came home in the meantime and listened to what he had to say in the driveway. And then I went down the street, turned around. I'm the one on the video in the truck, not my son. They wanted to hear a loud truck, and you want to harass my son and my grandson and send someone down to my home. I finally wanted an answer of what the problem is. So I revved it up. Nobody came out. I went up, knocked on the door, and I was, what is your deal? And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. Your son is harassing me.
Hang on just a sec. All right. Okay, I apologize. Continue.
We got in a heated argument. She told me to get off the property. I left, went home. Police called me back about 11:30 and just made another statement. And for the record, I've been served with nothing on this that I'm included in.
A lot of stuff has been filed, and you have access nothing to the. If you've not seen any of that?
No, nothing, not a word.
We're swearing Mr. Looney here in a minute, and I'll hear from him. And I saw the video, and if that's you driving that truck, making the gesture, it's not something I'd be bragging about.
No, I revved it up. I did not make any gestures going past the home.
Did. Then maybe that was someone else.
But it is just calling my customers, instead of coming down the street to talk to us like she states we're neighbors, going to my customers and badgering them for my phone number and then calling them for no reason. Like, what are you looking to get out of this by calling friends and customers of mine instead of just talking to us?
I think that's a real easy question to answer.
But
in terms of what she wants to get out of it, what they want to get out of it is not to have you or your son drive through the neighborhood in the manner that I observed on the video there that was taken by somebody else, not her. And if it's confusing to you why that would bother people,
if he did, I'm unaware of that.
What's that?
So if he did, I'm unaware of that.
Well, I'm going to see if I can get this, since we're all here in court, I'm going to see if I can get that to show you. And I don't know whether I'll be able to or not, frankly. But anyway, I'll let you finish. You go ahead.
Well, that was it. I left, went home, waited for the police, and nobody came. So I went back to work. Also, if they would have just come down and talked to us, that truck is up for sale. His other truck was in the garage. So it's not loud like that one. It's not going to sound like he's speeding up and down the road. There were no prior complaints. There's no calls to the police for erratic driving, a loud truck, speeding, nothing. This just went from Thursday or Friday to Tuesday, and we have this. We don't bother anybody. We don't want any problems with anybody, and I assume they don't either. And so my outburst was somebody came to my home and threatened my kid and my grandson. And if that's what they're looking at, I feel the same way.
How was they were threatened? I don't understand.
Whatever he was saying to my son at the end of the driveway, why was this man at my home? I don't know him.
Okay, but I still don't understand the threatening. What threats were made?
He said he was going to pay for everything he's done.
Who, Mr. Looney?
I don't know who this guy is.
Okay. Right.
John's the only name I've ever heard. Even the police officers brought it up.
Mr. Looney, could you wish to call them as a witness, Ms. Stewart?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi there. Could you raise your right hand, please?
Morning.
Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Okay. You can put your hand down. What do you know about all this?
So in my written statement, I attest to the fact that we've heard Mr. Johnson's truck pause in front of the neighbor's house. I've witnessed it twice. My wife works from home and said it's happened at least 2 other times during the 2-week period that preceded the incident we're talking about today. The first time I sounded actually like a cracked manifold, and I thought perhaps there was car trouble. And Jill let us know that she was sorry. It seemed to be a response to the text that she had sent his father with concerns about his driving. Then I work away from home. I happened to be home sick on the 6th and was upstairs in my pajamas, and the truck paused long enough that I was able to put my clothes on. I wanted to walk outside and flag Mr. Johnson down and basically tell him that was enough. He needs to cut it out. I am not the person that was at his driveway. I actually also don't know where he lives. And I am not a person that I would make you do anything or make you pay or anything like that. I put on my kind of angry dad voice. I waved him down, drove down the street, parked, came down and talked. I said something like, "You've got to cut this out. This has to end." He said some things about the speed limit. I think we were maybe conflating 2 different issues. Pointed out that he had the right to do things in his driveway, to which I rejoined that there's not your driveway. This is in front of my neighbor's house and by default mine and the other 3 neighbors. There was a little bit more animated discussion about growing up and whether or not we were all grown-ups. There was the demand to come to his house, which is, I think, unnecessary, and also I didn't know where it was. And that was the end of the conversation. And that pretty much captures all of my knowledge about this situation.
All right. And then there was was Sadie your sister?
Yes.
On the Zoom call? Does she have anything to say, or is she just here watching?
She's just here as support.
Okay. And then your husband's to your left.
Yes.
Do you wish to have him testify? Or
Yes.
doesn't sound like he was there. Or maybe he was, I don't know.
He's been witness to the harassment, but he was not there on the morning of the 6th, like this petition states.
Okay. Could you raise your right hand, please? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Anything you wish to add to all this?
I think the original contact with their client boss, Bill. I've known Bill for a long time. I built the dock for him. I used to do work for him. I called him and mainly to get a character background on Wyatt to see if this was normal behavior. And he said this was not normal behavior. So I said, well, is it something that I can call and talk to them? And he said that he would call Patrick and talk to him. And then this is what has happened since then. And that was Monday evening.
How long has this been going on?
It started directly after the text message.
No, I mean the revving and all this sort of stuff. The thing that led to the
It would have
text message being
been
sent in the first place.
what would be the Thursday or Friday before that, and then it proceeded for about a dozen times over the weekend.
Okay, so before the text message?
No,
That's what I want to find out. I want to find out what happened before the text
we
message.
were trying to. I realized we cannot control anybody's driving.
That's true.
It's all we can do is with a neighbor that we happen to have a contact to. So we just sent out a simple request to maybe ask his son to slow down, be more respectful of children and animals.
Okay, great, thanks. So, Mr. Johnson, Patrick Johnson, I'll come back to you in a minute there, Wyatt Johnson, for the final word. I don't know that the text was in here.
I submitted it as evidence.
Yeah, where is that? Is that in your petition?
No. It's a screenshot.
There it is. Thank you. So, you know, when I look at this text you got, and I have in front of me right now, it seems to me to be fairly innocuous. Why didn't you go talk to her about it and say, you know, like, what are you talking about? Or talk to Wyatt. I mean, we're going to show you here this video here of someone driving. I'm going to find out who that is. And so again, when you see this text, which is, again, to me, pretty innocuous, just go back and say, like, you know, even if you don't know what she's talking about, say, gosh, what are you talking about? What's the problem here? I resolve this.
Just didn't find any truth to it at the time. My son has a 10-month-old that's in the truck with him. He's towing my trailers. He's not driving erratically, is endangering people up and down the street.
Well, why didn't
I don't know them. I didn't owe them anything. I didn't owe them a response. It just,
well,
I found it all false.
I mean, so you just think, well, gosh, someone's just making up something, so the heck with it.
Well, when he's driving my vehicles, unless I have proof otherwise, I'm going to believe my son. And when my grandson's in the truck most of the time, or he's towing one of my trailers, I know he's not messing around.
Unless you're there watching him, you don't know that.
Well, it's true, but all they have is hearsay.
I'll show you what they have here in a minute. With that. So Wyatt Johnson, I'll come to you. Anything you heard all these people talk. What's your response to all this? If you have one.
I would say I drive 7 to 8 times up and down this road a day, going to get parts, going to get random things, doing whatever I have to do to keep working. I want to see the videos also of where you were waving to me and I was waving back at you with no issues, and you were still recording, and I was not trying to hurt your feelings or be aggressive towards you. I was just expecting maybe a conversation at some point where you would come down and actually talk or message
I
me.
lost your audio for some reason. I can't hear you anymore.
Hello?
That's it.
That's a duplicate.
Ms. Stewart, who took that video? Was that you?
That was John Anderson.
You are harassing me at this point. You are harassing me. You are harassing me. here and doing that. So I will be calling the police.
Thank you, John. So, Mr. Wyatt Johnson, I guess I'll start with you. Based on that video, looks like you were approaching that other individual who's not Ms. Stewart's husband. You had parked your car at your place and was coming back to confront them. Is that, am I reading that correctly? Or you can explain to me what was going on there?
Yeah, so when I drove down the road and I saw everybody was out and John was running down the street, as I said last time, I was in the wrong for this, but I held on the brake while I was going down the road and was trying to spin tires and create noise. And then once I saw that.
Wait, stop that. Say that again, please. You were trying to spin. Yes,
in a sense, yes.
In a sense, you were on the road trying to spin your tires.
Yes.
You may continue.
And when I saw everybody was outside, I went and parked my truck and put it up, locked it up, and walked down to conversate.
What was your intention in going back there?
I hadn't spoken to them before, so I had no intention. I just wanted to see what was going on and have a conversation.
Okay. Mr. Patrick Johnson, earlier you had said that basically that this was just someone speeding up from a school zone, which is 20 miles an hour, to a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, and that may account for the noise, if I understood your earlier testimony correctly.
Correct, Your Honor.
Was that what you just saw? Is that?
No, but he still wasn't over the speed limit.
Right. No, but I mean, well, let me ask you this question. What would you think if somebody drove by your house frequently and did that? I know what I'd think.
I know what everybody thinks, but he wasn't doing it frequently until she started going outside with the camera and taunting him. And that was very unimpressive, but still,
do you think that maybe it was that sort of behavior that led her to send the text in the first place?
I don't know if I've ever seen or heard of him doing something like that before.
Well, he probably doesn't do it when you're watching, which is what a lot of kids do when their parents aren't watching.
Why couldn't they just walk down the block and a half and talk to us?
Well, they kind of did with that text.
I don't find that as the same thing, Your Honor.
Okay.
She claims the neighborly stuff and we're here if you need anything, but they just send a text and then they're badgering customers for my phone number and talking about it.
All right. You just heard him say that he was intentionally trying to peel out.
Yeah, because they're outside with cameras antagonizing, waiting for it.
Which makes even less sense that he would do that if he was on camera. Most people, when they're on camera, they take steps to be on their best behavior. So, I mean, the fact that you're on camera, it's like, okay, let me demonstrate what I've been doing, basically, which is.
I think he was frustrated that it wasn't the first time she was outside with cameras.
Probably not, because.
Been denied, and now we have them in all of my trucks due to this situation. I don't know. At the end of the day, Your Honor, we had left each other alone before. The truck is actually up for sale, and he has a different one now that's not anywhere near as loud. And he's leaving in 3 weeks for a job out of state. So I don't know. I think everybody just wants to be left alone.
Mr. Johnson, Wyatt Johnson, anything you'd like to say at this time?
No, Your Honor.
What do you think about the way you conducted yourself out there?
As I said last time, that choice that I made while it was on camera was not the right choice. And it was out of anger. And I'm waking up at 8:30 and you guys wait until 2 minutes for my dad to leave to everybody swarm in. And yeah, I got upset and I should not have. And then I tried to talk to them and was met with disgusting name calling and gross names. And all I did was just try to talk to them like a natural person. And everything they were saying to customers or to our customer was stuff they didn't want to tell us because it was asinine and disgusting. So I just assumed that whatever they were going to have to say to me was going to be awful. But when I saw everybody outside, I figured it was a time to talk.
All right. Where's he going out of state?
Minnesota.
Okay, for how long?
Oh, for good. That's where we're from.
Okay. And then what's he doing there?
Lumberyard.
All right. Anything you'd like to say? Any follow-up?
No, I just want this to be done.
Okay, well, I think everyone wants that. That's for sure.
I do want to say that you saw in the video of what I said to him, and never did I call him any names on any level. So it's just, they're grasping at straws at this point.
So we have a number of petitions here. We have Ms. Stewart's asking for a petition against both Johnsons. Mr. Wyatt Johnson is the only petitioner asking for an order against Ms. Stewart. And so what I'm going to do is as follows. As I said before, I read the definition of harassing is a series of acts over a period of time that is nothing more than to harass, vex, or annoy, or anything like that. With regard to Mr. Wyatt Johnson against Ms. Stewart, I don't make any finding that Ms. Stewart engaged in any sort of harassing behavior against Mr. Wyatt Johnson, so that petition will be denied. Ms. Stewart indicated asking for a petition against both Johnsons, Mr. Patrick Johnson and Mr. Wyatt Johnson. Mr. Patrick Johnson, maybe I have some concerns about the way he responded to the reach out from Ms. Jill Stewart. I certainly can't make any finding that Mr. Patrick Johnson engaged in any sort of harassing behavior, so the petition against Patrick Johnson will be denied. However, with regard to Wyatt Johnson, it's clear to me that when someone drives by someone's house and that's a loud truck, they're doing it for one. I mean, it is. And when you're revving it like that.
It's a glass pack when his exhaust rusted out. He put it on in July.
But still, loud trucks and actually revving it in the manner that was done. I mean, you're only doing it to bug a person, as far as I can tell. So I will find that Wyatt Johnson engaged in that. I'll enter an order just for Jill Stewart against Wyatt Johnson. And that's it. There's not going to be a distance restriction. It's not going to affect his ability to get to and from his own home. It's just behave yourself. And somebody said this, and you're probably going to disagree with this, Mr. Wyatt Johnson, but you need to grow up and learn how to drive. And your dad says that your child is there with you. I see things all the time where people do crazy things in cars with children, and I'm sure he doesn't do it in front of you. None of us know what he's doing without them. But when I have neighbors, Ms. Stewart herself, and then other neighbors saying this is what's happening, and it's not just her, and it's driving everyone in the neighborhood nuts, frankly. And so knock it off, basically. And good luck in your job when you go to, and you folks lived near each other peacefully for a number of years. I don't see any reason why that can continue, but that'll be my order. And given the fact that he's leaving, it'll be a shorter order. It'll just be in place for 6 months. By that time he's gone, the order will go away, and that'll be the end of it. Do you understand where I'm coming from, Mr. Wyatt Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and that's it for today. You can get a copy of, I'll sign this, and you can get copies of this off the Thurston County District Court website.
Thank
And
you.
basically the honor is just, you're not to contact them, you're not to communicate with them, cause them no harm, don't engage in stalking behavior, and just don't come onto their premises, basically. But I'm not going to do a distance restriction to make him, don't come with you. He has to do all kinds of automotive gymnastics to avoid the home. But if you've learned anything out of this, you need to learn, again, you need to learn how to drive, frankly. But that's what I'm going to do here for today. Good luck to everybody, and hopefully this will put an end to it. And you all may go.
Thank you.
You can get copies of this off the Thurston County District Court website. So are you here for court?
Yeah, approach.
No. I'm asking you, are you here for court?
Yes.
Okay, and what's your name?
Name is spelled all lowercase letters. Paul Christopher semicolon, passage like that.
Okay, you're here for, give me just a second. A competency hearing.
Yeah, the number is 3A0701006 THC.
Thank you. Just a second.
They have my name wrong on the record.
Okay, well. Is Mr. Stillwell on the Zoom call? There he is.
Yes, hello, sorry, I'm a few minutes late.
Objection,
Hi
Mr.
there.
Stillwell does not
Okay.
represent me.
So your objection's noted.
Okay.
And then he has been appointed to represent you. Whether he
Thank you.
continues in that or not, we'll see.
Is that Mr. Hartzell?
It is.
Negative,
Yep,
it is not.
okay.
My name is Mr.
Well,
Christopher.
okay. You're gonna need to he was talking to me. He asked me a question.
Well, he
And
asked
so
who's
hang on,
here, and I gave
just that's not actually what he said. He said, is that Mr.
that.
Hartzell?
I'm not Mr.
And so, but he was asking me. So you don't answer when he's talking to me. All right?
Well, I have an objection. I'm gonna
Okay,
voice it.
and
I
you're-
apologize for interrupting.
Thank you. Your objection is noted. Hang on, Mr. Stillwell, just a second. I just want to complete the record here. A competency order evaluation was signed quite some time ago. Give me just a second. Fuck. And so, and I understand, Mr. Stillwell, at this point, again, I don't want to, you're listed as Paul Christopher Hartzell. I know that's not how you go. I can't remember precisely how you phrase your name. I don't want to be wrong about that. But that's what's in the record now. That's going to stay there until, but I want to hear from Mr. Stillwell. You were going to say something?
Yes, Your Honor, just that we're here today for a competency evaluation. I don't believe one has occurred yet. The 1077 was issued, I believe, just in November, and I know Western State Hospital is taking about a year, if not more, to do out of custody competency evaluation. So this was set at the time of the issuance of the 1077, but it hasn't been, the evaluation hasn't taken place yet.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what's happening here today and what do you want to have
Somebody has
happen?
accused me of being insane. That's what the 1077 is proceedings to insanity or something like that.
No, it's not like that.
Procedural.
It's
insanity
different.
procedure.
And
What is
so, well, I'll explain it to you as best I can. And so competency to stand trial and insanity are two different things. And competency to stand trial means you understand the nature of the offense and you're able to you understand the nature of your offense and can assist in the defense. And that has been, anyone can make a motion to, if they have some concerns about that. And apparently that happened some time ago. That order was entered not by me. And so you get evaluated by someone from Western State Hospital. They'll interview you and talk to you. And then they'll make a determination or they'll make an opinion, say, no, this person does understand the nature of the offense and he is able to assist in his defense, even though you and your defense attorney may have different views on the Constitution and so forth. But nonetheless, this person is competent to proceed, but that's an evaluation that's done by Western State Hospital. Or sometimes we see people who are undergoing some fairly substantial mental health issues. No, this person really doesn't understand what's going on. and they're not able to assist the defense, and then they're found not competent. And generally, most of the time, particularly in a case like this, the case gets dismissed, and that's pretty much the end of it. So that's where we're at right now. And so that order's been signed. That order's going to stay in place. And when Western State, again, it takes, or so far behind, it's taken for out of custody, it's taking quite some time to deal with. Then if they come back and say, yes, you're competent to go forward, you can talk about representation, get rid of your attorney, represent yourself. If you want to do that, that's fine. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I've never seen anyone be very successful at that, but you can certainly do that if you wish to do that. So hang on, remember, you promised not to interrupt, I thought, and I was still talking. So don't do that. Okay. And so what we're going to do today is we're just going to reset this for a period of, I don't know, we can go 3 or 4 months and just kind of check in and see where we're at. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you something that I don't know whether you know this or not, but someone with the name of your identifiers, similar identifiers, and the similar name, which is listed in the record, which I know you disagree with, has a warrant out of Lakewood Municipal Court. Are you aware of that? Okay. You probably want to take care of that. And because if you contact law enforcement, you could be arrested on that. And again, I know that you and probably law enforcement might have disagreement as to what your actual name is. But right now, someone with your identifiers in this case has a warrant also for criminal trespass in Lakewood Municipal, which is alleged to have occurred. This is just allegation. Well, this is no, say, I was going to say the day after, but it wasn't really, because the case you're here for was alleged to have occurred on November 7th of 2023. The Lakewood Municipal case was alleged to have occurred on November 8th of 2021. So, yeah, and that warrant's been out since February of 2022, and it's still there. And someone contacted that court that was issued on February 22nd, 2022. Someone contacted the court on October 2nd, 2023, to a telephone call from a third party, verified an active warrant, and that was it. There's been no, and I don't know who that was, whether that was someone on your behalf, said from a third party, or anyway, that warrant's out there, and you need to deal with that. My next question is, have you been getting written notice of court hearings? Like, you're here, thank you. Have you been getting mailed notice?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you know to be here today?
They gave me a notice last hearing that I was attending, which was back in November.
Okay. And then we have a mailing address for you on College Street in Lacey. Is that a place you'll get mail? Do you have a place you'll get mail?
Yep.
Okay. Could you provide that, please?
Right here.
Okay. I'm going to have you can hang on to that for right now, because we have to settle this competency thing before we go from anywhere from there. And so what is your mailing address?
It is P.O. Box 8824, Lazy, Washington 98509.
Okay. Do you have we can send text reminders to cell phones. Do you have a cell phone where you can get a text reminder of a court hearing? Okay. Sometimes I wish I didn't. Here's the other thing. So I know what you have said, that Mr. Stillwell, this guy's not my attorney, and everyone's entitled to an attorney. We can appoint attorneys for people who qualify. At this point, he's been appointed to represent you. So I'm going to tell you something that you can take this at face value if you want. I'm going to give you the phone number for Thurston County Public Defense. His name is Jacob Stillwell, and you can speak with him. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Let me finish. My point is this. Sometimes, people enter these orders, or asked to have these orders entered when people behave in a certain way. And I looked to me like, and again, you may disagree with this, that you might have refused to come to court, wouldn't talk to anybody and stuff like that, which may not mean you just didn't want to talk to people, not necessarily you're not competent. And so if you can speak to Mr. Stillwell, and if you can get him to understand that, you know, maybe you do know what's going on, what the nature of the charges are and all that, even if you disagree with everything he says and everything I do, you may take a second opinion or on whether or not this 1077 is necessary. You can come back to court, withdraw the 1077 order, and get rid of him, represent yourself, and go forward on that, which may short circuit things a little bit and get things to resolution a little bit quicker. Now, I'm done. So, but we're going to be done here in a minute. We're going to set a court date. I'm going to give you that court date. It'll get sent to that address that you had said. Anything you want to say at this time?
Yes, I am one of the people of the state of Washington. It is my wish that this suit in equity no longer proceeds.
This what?
Suit in equity.
Okay, this is not that, but you can continue. Go ahead.
It is my wish that this case be dismissed immediately.
Okay. That's probably the wish of everybody who's appearing in court here today. But that that request is going to be denied. And again, I just, for what it's worth, and you know, and I've have some experience with people who have the same view of yours, and you know, you just have a lot of, you're wrong about a few things. This is not a suit in equity. It's just not. And I'm not going to go any further than that to explain to you what that is, but this is a criminal, other than to say this is a criminal charge filed by the prosecuting attorney's office in Thurston County, I think, yes. And a suit in equity is something completely different than that. But your motion to dismiss is denied. We're going to give you a court date, and then and again, I would encourage you at least just to talk to Mr. Stillwell. You might be able to reach some understanding of how to go forward on this, but you don't, I shouldn't be in the advice giving business where I'm at here right now, but that's the advice I would give to you. Mr. Fortunato, do you have anything you wish to add at this time?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
One more thing.
Sure.
Just to clarify, that wasn't a motion, that was a wish.
Okay.
And since my wish wasn't granted, I would like to make a counterclaim.
We're not. Okay. So hey,
Pick it up right here.
Okay. So you can keep that. You can take that with you.
I mean, you guys can take it.
What's that? No, but I don't want it. And it's not. It's not going to be. What's that? Yeah. It's not that I don't want it, but it's not. It's not going to be filed.
Well, as long as it's on the record that
okay.
I made my claim, and I have the video evidence right here of the surprise hearing I had with Mr. Wool. So
the surprise hearing.
Yeah, there was a hearing on the 13th where I told him I was one of the people of the state of Washington.
Well, I guess that's one thing we have in common. I've lived my whole life here, so I thought so. Was that the 30th, November 30th?
13th?
Of what month?
November.
I see you're here on November 9th.
I was not here on November 9th.
No, there was a hearing on November 9th.
Yeah, without me present, and I was very sad about that. I also wasn't heard on the 8th either.
All right.
My first hearing was on the 13th.
If I may interject, I'd be happy to make my way over to court and talk to my client there and help clarify any questions he's got.
You can talk to me, but I'm not your client.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, there was a hearing on the 13th, and it still disturbs me today that hearing is not being acknowledged.
yeah, I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm just saying I don't see it in the docket.
Okay.
So go ahead, Mr. Stillwell, if you want to come over here and talk to him. Actually, I want to give that to him. Here's your notice. Actually, you can go ahead and give that to the clerk. We'll just put it in the file, just so it doesn't get lost. Your next court date is going to be June 21st. Here, I'll give you that. June 21st at 9 a.m. And we'll see. And then Mr. Stillwell is on his way over. And
by the way, I do know what that thing with Lakewood's about. That's when I tried suing.
I don't know what that's about.
I do.
I just know that
They
you
have
have,
the wrong
okay,
date.
I just know that you have a warrant or someone under this name who has a warrant. And so,
I will honor getting that settled, because that's why I came to the Superior Court in the first place, is to get that settled.
okay. There you go. You're free to go. And again, Mr. Stillwell's apparently on his way over here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, at least to talk to him. That's it for today. You're welcome.
There wasn't a whole lot out today that was really good to show, so I had to kind of go back and look at some other stuff that I had saved, but hopefully that was okay. Thank you guys so very much for watching and being here for this premiere, and I'll see you next time.